You must have seen countless companies that announce rewards for people every year. And at some point in your life, you might have tried to win a prize as well. Similarly, a company once announced that it would reward people who purchased their products. But due to a small mistake, the matter escalated to the point where a fighter jet became part of the reward. And because of this small mistake, the company had to leave the country altogether. Which company was this? And what mistake did it make that forced it to leave a country? This story dates back to 1995, but it is tied to the War of Colas that started in the 1970s. The bitter rivalry between Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola began when Pepsi-Cola was founded in 1902, 10 years after Coca-Cola. Although Coca-Cola dominated the market, Pepsi tried to gain a foothold by lowering prices and using other strategies. In 1975, Pepsi launched a marketing campaign called the Pepsi Challenge, directly targeting its competitor. Over the years, Pepsi created many ads and, 2 decades later, introduced a campaign called Pepsi Stuff, with the tagline, "Drink Pepsi. Get stuff." If customers saved Pepsi bottle caps, they could earn points to exchange for t-shirts, caps, jeans, leather jackets, handbags, and mountain bikes. This turned out to be one of the most successful campaigns in the rivalry between soda companies. But there was a mistake in this campaign that soon became a big problem for Pepsi. To attract young people, the company used pictures of supermodels in the campaign and promoted it on TV and in cinemas during movies. One ad in the campaign showed a child getting ready for school. In the ad, the child was wearing some items that could be redeemed with Pepsi points. Along with these items, their required points were also mentioned. The ad stated, "The more Pepsi you drink, the more Pepsi merchandise you can win." The child, fully dressed, steps out of the house and arrives at school in a fighter jet. On the TV screen, it was written that the fighter jet could be redeemed for 7 million Pepsi points. However, Pepsi seemingly forgot to mention in the ad that the jet was only shown for promotional purposes and would not actually be given away. The truth is, the creators of the commercial probably never paused to think about how much Pepsi One would have to drink to win such a jet. For them, it was just a way to grab attention. But one person did the math. Not only that, but he also had a way to obtain those points. A college student named John Leonard, who was always thinking of different ways to make money, was just 20 years old at the time. While continuing his studies, he had done numerous small jobs to earn money. As soon as he saw this ad, he started calculating how much Pepsi he would need to drink to win the jet. Using mathematics, he figured out how many points were required to win the jet. After dividing the cost of stocking millions of bottles and removing their caps, he realized that the offer was still very profitable. In other words, by spending just $4 million on Pepsi, he could get a jet worth $23 million. He presented this plan to a millionaire businessman, Todd Hoffman, whom he knew personally and had met once or twice before. Hoffman, much older and more experienced, asked Leonard important questions to evaluate the plan. One of the questions Hoffman asked was critical. What would they do if they were close to collecting the required labels and the promotion ended? What would they do with the millions of labelless bottles in such a scenario? After being discouraged by this, Leonard found a new way while reading the Pepsi catalog one day. He discovered that Pepsi points could also be purchased for just 10 cents per point. This meant people could buy or trade points with each other. To win the jet, which required 7 million points, they needed only $700,000. When Leonard shared this with Hoffman, Hoffman immediately gave him a check for the amount. And thus began a new battle. Pepsi's initial response was, "Well done. Here's your check, along with some gifts and a certificate." In other words, Pepsi was offering a small amount of money. Leonard and Hoffman reacted by saying, "If we don't receive confirmation of the Pepsi points transfer within 10 days, we will have no choice but to take legal action against Pepsi." The case dragged on for years. Pepsi, however, decided to take legal action against them in New York instead. This ensured that if there was legal action, it would take place in a jurisdiction with lenient laws for businesses. During this time, Leonard rejected an out-of-court settlement offered by Pepsi, which included compensation. It was a nearly impossible task for Leonard and Hoffman to win against Pepsi's army of lawyers, as well as their insurance and ad companies. Pepsi then modified the commercial by adding extra zeros to the points, making them 700 million. They also included a disclaimer that said, "We're just kidding," which could be seen as an acknowledgement of the mistake. You must be wondering what the outcome of this case was. Let me tell you. The judge ruled that there was already sufficient evidence, and there was no need for depositions. After a long wait, the decision came in Leonard's favor. Pepsi was fined heavily and ordered not to create such ads again. The judge wrote in the decision that no reasonable person would have thought, upon seeing the ad, that the company would give a fighter jet to its customers. In the lengthy verdict, the judge also noted that no school provides a landing runway for fighter jets for its students. Such foolishness should not be repeated. For a while, Pepsi's business completely halted, but over time, it recovered. This was today's story. If you liked it, see you in the next video. Please share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.